full 26-year-old that thinks the same thing after watching my YouTube channels.
You are your only punchline. I like your book. I like the premise of your book about selflessness, selfishness. I always say myself that selfless is the ugliest state to be in because we're leaving ourselves out. And if we see ourselves as connected with other people, that's divine selfishness because we're not doing for others, we're just helping ourselves. I'd be interested to hear if your book is along that lines or if it's different.
Well, I think it's a little bit like her title is a little bit like a clickbait title, like the Reality Restoration Project. The truth is, the restoration of reality doesn't need a restoration because reality is. Hello?
The book you're holding in your profile picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is the title of it is Virtue of Selfishness, which is a little bit like a clickbait title because anybody who's passing by says, "Oh, that's not right." Selfishness is not virtue. But then when you read the book, it's she's trying to make the argument that egoism versus altruism is the better economic model for creating maximum abundance and efficiency. Uh, so she's saying that all these social welfare programs and sacrificing self for others is one of the reasons why we have so many social um, problems and economic problems, why we have no equity, why we have no economic equality is exactly because of the socialist economic model of altruism.
Agree with that, but I would apply that to our emotional state as well. That selflessness, as far as you can't love others if all you're doing is giving it to others. Until you have it within, you have none to give. You're empty. So you need to be selfish and love yourself first. So you do
but
have
there's no equity because we're doing too much for ourselves, or too
For others.
we're putting others ahead of us. We're being selfless.
Okay, so that would
So
cause
selfless
less
is to leave
equity.
yourself.
So there would be less equity.
Well,
Because
if we're
we're
talking
helping
about
others.
love, yes. Because if you're just trying to love others, you're not, and you're leaving yourself out.
Where
You're
in that
selfless.
where in that definition is just as if all we're doing is helping others? Where in the definition?
Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, and it's a bunch
Yeah.
of bullshit, and it's
Yeah.
a bunch of fucking selfish, unempathetic,
There you go.
like ego-driven fucking bullshit. And so you guys can subscribe to that all you want, but
I don't subscribe to that. I don't feel very comfortable subscribing to Dude here, but
I don't subscribe to it the way that she writes it, but I subscribe to it the way that I say. Because if with my daughter, I'm not being selfless. I'm being selfish because I'm taking care of myself. So there's a divine aspect or a good selfishness, and there's a bad selfishness. I'm just saying there's good and bad in all of them.
So all that's saying is everything that's in Beyond Freedom, Integrity, Beyond Freedom and Dignity, B.M. Skinner stuff, Skinnerian school of thought, that all there is reward and punishment, which is true, right? The only motivation we have to do anything is reward or punishment. Obviously, we can say we're doing something to help others, but there's a reward of us feeling good, right? So the feelings and the emotions are necessities to get us to do things that cause reward and punishment. Unless we had some other objective way of getting a reward and punishment or whatever, but that's hard to even think what that would be outside of us doing things that just give us a reward. So if you want to use selfish like that in that kind of definition, sure, but that doesn't mean you don't help others. It would mean you do help others almost always.
The more selfish you are in the way that I'm talking about, the more you're available to and capable of helping.
Well, look at it this way. On this app, there are people that will say if you're not engaged in deconstructing and fighting structural racism daily, you are the problem. And that's why I read philosophy. But Bima,
I've never heard anybody say that.
You never heard somebody say that on this app? Well, what I'm trying to say is, if I read philosophy,
every day.
that's what I was told 2 days ago. Every day I should be fighting structural white racism. I'm just.
I've never heard anybody say that even.
Well, that's okay. You run your show with your green bean the way you run your show with your green bean. I mean, yelling at people on a show is hardly considered a show. But the point is,
Yeah, fortunately, I don't yell at people.
oh, you don't yell at people on your show all the time? Got it. Okay.
I do come into other rooms such as this and other rooms, and I've never heard that either.
Well, I've got it on my YouTube channel. If you'd like, I could send you the clip. What I'm trying to say is I study philosophy. So if there is structural racism, well, my solution is that everybody should just read philosophy daily.
Send me that YouTube channel. I'll send you what I have on healing crystals. I have a YouTube channel on healing crystals.
That sounds like a fair trade.
By the way, structural racism, is that synonymous with institutional racism, or is it different?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same thing. Thank you.
We now using YouTube channels as basis of facts. It sounds almost like Trump saying they all say this.
Well, it's
all in all way. Like in a lot of the stuff we've been saying, we every day we have to do it X, Y, and Z, or all we need to do is, or when we're being empathetic, it's like all or none kind of stuff. I think when people don't like something, they tend to do that to bolster their argument because it sounds more ridiculous if you were doing it every day or all you need to
it's
do.
all or nothing statement. In cognitive behavioral therapy, that's called the distortion disorder, all or nothing thinking. So, for an atheist, I think Steve does an awful lot of all or nothing thinking. For example, if I were to ask you, what is a soul? What do people mean when they say the soul? Because that is the one topic that always, after you finally break the sky god model, and then somebody says, what's a soul? Well, then we're kind of like back at where we started, which is let's talk about something that doesn't exist and is a concept. So it always becomes the prove to me God exists show.
Yeah, I find it, I find it fascinating that he accuses me of being an example of the all or nothing, because I find more often than not, I say most or some, a hell of a lot more than I say all or none. I don't know where he's getting that from.
Well, you're Jewish, but you're an atheist.
Oh, so because I'm Jewish, I say all or none more than some or most. Sounds to me like you're affected by institutional racism more than anybody.
Well, what I'm saying is, how can you call
What I'm saying is, because I'm Jewish, you just claimed that all Jewish people do something. That, sir, is a classic example, by definition, of racism.
Is it a category error?
I'm not gonna lie, everything that I've heard from people since I've stopped talking is just like a bunch of repeated bullshit. Just narratives that people attach themselves to, that they're viewing, they think is real and reality, and it's hilarious because it's just a bunch of word salad bullshit.
Yeah, but that's part of the game.
Everybody said, except for what you said, is absolute bullshit. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he hasn't hit his bell of peace yet.
It's just narratives that have been set forth on algorithms that people have subscribed to, and if people could just see that these algorithms are steering their internal mindset about things that they see in society, like the topics that you guys have talked about. Like a lot of what I heard was just repeated shit that I hear online. It's a bunch of bullshit that gets a lot of attention.
Well, let's see if you've heard this before. And sincerely, I'm asking you if you've heard the following before. There's no question in my mind that there are people today that are racist and prejudiced, no question about it, and they work within the system. But the system itself today, I'm not aware of anything in the system today that is systemically racist. Have you heard that before? Dude.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair, analysis. Like, it seems to me like you're well aware of the history of racism and suffering that has been a result of how we're operating in the system today. Working to adapt the system so there's not as much systematic racism. Like, that seems like a pretty fair analysis.
Thank you, dude.
Not an attack, but I have yet to hear anything novel from you. Everything that you said are in books, algorithms in books, or algorithms on the computer. Say something unique that we wouldn't find in any algorithm or on the internet.
Kids here. I wasn't making much noise though.
What's that?
I'm making much noise.
Alright.
No. Keep it down. I don't want to see you again. Alright, man. I don't see the problem. Hey, is that a Versace robe?
I'll tell you something you won't find on an algorithm or on the internet. It's my birthday today, May 23rd. Thank you.
What's going on, sir? Good. It's a family neighborhood. I'll just check out the houses.
Happy birthday, Steve.
It's your birthday. It's not my birthday too, yeah.
Is it? Have fun on your cruise, Steve.
I did have fun, thank you.
Are you going to a party?
Well, I just got back from the cruise, so.
Well, but I mean today on your birthday, are you going to the party?
No, I don't have planned to go to the party. No, I don't have planned, no. Yeah.
A violation of the rules.
You're right, I'm in my mid-60s, I violate the rules, or at least those rules, yeah. Some rules. See, not all or none, some. No.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you, John.
So I'm just wondering, how does an atheist in 2026 on Clubhouse respond to the question, is there a soul? Or do you have a soul? Or are you just a body living in a soul? You know, how do you grapple with eternity or providence or destiny? Do these words mean nothing to an atheist?
I think we're going to ask you something hard. That one's easy. I do not believe that a soul exists.
And when you ask about a soul, that's a subjective thing as well. Define the way that you're thinking of a soul. When you say soul, what do you mean? What's your belief in a soul?
I'm expecting new shoes from Amazon today. Does that suffice?
Way to go. Nice work, John.
Hope they bring comfort to your soul.
I do believe in souls.
Yes. You should put some crystals in them before you wear them to get rid of the bad spirits.
But I would like to ask John a question, and I think it's on point. If not, you all can, speak up against it. But John, and I'm going to use never now because this is my life and my life only. John, I have never, ever in my entire life, all 66 years today, purchased a pair of shoes without first trying them on. How did you come to the decision to purchase a pair of shoes without trying them on?
That's a great question, Steve, because the shoes that I'm expecting today are shoes that I did order without trying them on. And they're the best shoes I've ever owned. So the shoes that I'm getting today are a reorder of shoes that I now have tried on. So I've done these shoes both ways.
So you've tried them. You've tried the same model, brand, size before, just not these.
That's right. These are brand new shoes. I hope they haven't changed the way they make them.
Thank you, John.
But it's really true, and of course, the only reason you can do this is because they accept returns, right? So no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I mean, I've done pants and I've done shirts because they have the neck measurement, they have the arm measurement, but shoes, you know, they're like a different breed.
No, totally. And I have really sensitive feet. I mean, it's really hard for me to find these. I mean, these are shoes from Ortho Feet, right? So they're made specifically for people with the kind of neuropathy that I have, but they are so comfortable. I'm just really happy. I'm hoping, in fact, I probably should order another, 3 or 4 pair.
Well, you can buy.
It's genius. Buy shoes that you've already worn, same brand, same make or whatever, and then purchase it on the internet because you're certainly going to find them less expensive there.
Well, and but of course, the point is you can't always do that, right? It's very amazing to me that these shoes in apparently the same style are still available. Go ahead.
So I have a disappointment in the reverse of this. There was a pair of shoes I found once, the greatest pair of boots I ever owned. I kind of stumbled on them accidentally, and I have never found their equal. Even from the company that makes them, I think they discontinued it, and I'm so disappointed. Yeah. I wish I'm envious of your shoe discovery.
Well, I was astonished that they were still available because I expected exactly what you said.
And Caleb, you know this because when it comes to boots, when you first try them on, they don't fit the same as if you've been wearing them for a couple of weeks, because then you work them in and they fit your feet for the next couple of years, but you have to wear them in for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'd just like to remind us all of how we got to talking about shoes. Does anybody remember?
It's always great how one curveball question is all it takes to shift the entire dynamic, and people will act like in reality this doesn't happen all the time. It happens clearly way more than we give it credit to. Think about
butterfly effect, John.
Yeah, I have issues with that word,
it really is.
But yeah, it's so often you think about the one thing that you did in your day that could have changed the entire trajectory of your day. Like, it's fun to find those things. It's fun to think of them in life. I do this so often. Talk about the day that you did something that sort of changed your entire trajectory, or at least you think it changed your trajectory, right? They're usually very easy. I love the exercise I love doing is think about what made you be here right now. And like you go back and you think through it, get as much of the randomness out of it as possible and try to think, like, why are you here? And it's wild. It always feels like what I would say a lot of theists find meaning in, right? They find meaning in the particular reality that had to be now and think that because it exists, it somehow is a little bit more magical than it might be. While it's very, very cool to you, there's nothing magical about it. It had to be,
Not magical, meaningful. Yeah. Right, meaningful. In other words, Kierkegaard said you live life forwards and understand it backwards, and you don't have to be a theist in order to sort of do that reflection that you're talking about.
Are you a determinist, bro? It sounds like it by the way you phrase it.
Yeah.
Wait, what? A permanist?
Determinist.
Well, since we have a rabbi here, Caleb, can you maybe tell these atheists what Shavuot is?
And Bible know that Caleb was a determinist. I didn't know that.
I'm not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can you maybe tell people what
it's one of I admit that it's one of the more challenging things to kind of internalize, right? Like whether or not you think it is or it isn't. Depending on who asks me and what they mean, I usually start out by saying, yeah, sort of. Like, it could be, when we get asked the question, are you a blank?
Hey, how much?
I never love those questions, right? I don't subscribe to the company and write them checks or whatever. I entertain the notion that there could be a determinist kind of reality, but I have no idea. So why would I be a belief?
You framed it. Why would I be a belief-based person about it?
And for the person that asked, my understanding is a determinist is somebody who believes that everything that happens in our lives is predetermined.
Yeah. I mean, when you look backwards, it was predetermined. That's what I mean, right? That's what Caleb's talking about. But was it predetermined before I did it? No.
Oh no!
Why would I believe it?
Predetermined by what or who though? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's not included in the definition by who or what.
Well, look at the Ten Commandments. Yesterday was a Jewish holiday, Shavuot, and the first two commandments are, "I am the Lord your God, and you shall have no other gods before me." So, what if you're an atheist? What in the Ten Commandments would you do away with? Is it the first two? Is it all 10? Or which ones in the 10 do you particularly not like?
The first one, they all build on each other. So you get rid of the first one, and that destroys the foundation for the rest.
Well, but really, all of them, except for the 3 that are so perfectly fucking obvious, it's hard to imagine anybody would need a god to tell you, right? Don't kill, don't lie,
Bear false witness.
all that stuff. Right? I mean, really, don't get me started on the Ten
Shall not
Commandments.
steal.
Or I'll read you my
Don't
plain
commit
English
adultery.
translation of the Ten Commandments.
Honor your father. Honor your mother.
Like, actually, you think that it's like it should be common sense, but like common sense isn't very common, and depending on a person's
Well,
childhood.
that's on the algorithm.
The one thing that is 100%.
Interrupted, so that gives Steve an invitation to interrupt as well.
You know what, dude? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll go after you.
As we grow and experience and have our minds conditioned in this world, certain people are conditioned in a way that is not very common sense for them, even though it is for probably most, if not all, the people in this room.
Can I just read my? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sorry.
If I may, very quickly, there are 2 things, and now I will use only. There are 2 things only that are 100% factually the same about atheists. Actually, 1. That is, we do not believe in God. Other than that, we're all individuals.
I always feel like the Ten Commandments should be plastered in every public place so that people stand a better chance of actually reading them and realizing how profoundly stupid they are. I mean, here's what the second commandment literally says. Don't draw, paint, or sculpt images of stuff that is in heaven or that is buried or that is in water under the earth. And if you happen to find any stuff like that, ignore it. Because if you don't, I'll fuck with your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and possibly your great-great-grandchildren. That's literally.
Really? It just says you shall have no other gods before me. So that's, it's a concept. It's introducing a concept.
That's hilarious.
I'm just saying, you're taking it really far out there.
Actually, John, dude is right. That is not, dude is right. That is not what it says. You added quite a lot there.
Well, I think I challenge anybody to tell me anything I said that is not exactly what.
The word fuck did not exist 3,500 years ago.
Okay, you're right. You got me.
But that's why I was going to stay outside and wait patiently. What does idolatry mean?
Right.
Worshipping idols, right?
Worshipping false
And
gods.
how do people create idols?
Through covetousness, through desire.
By sculpting stuff. I mean, are you trying
Through
to tell me
desires.
that one really shouldn't sculpt stuff, images of
It's
stuff?
not talking about art. It's talking about creating idols and idolatry.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
so an
it
idol's not
does
limited
not
to
say
a
that.
physical
It
object.
does
You can
not
idolize
say
something
that.
in your head and worship something in your head that doesn't even exist in reality.
The Israelites made guys. The Israelites made idols. They had idols in their own temple.
But the second commandment literally does not refer to idols.
Yes, it does. Because what it says is don't. It does because the word and you're just gonna have to trust me on the Hebrew here, John. Okay, and I'm gonna be pedantic about I'm right, you're wrong on this one. Okay, lo ta'aseh lecha pesel. The word pesel has to do with carving a statue. Do not make a sculpture. This is about making physical images.
I know, I understand.
Physical representations.
It says, here's what it says in the version of the Bible that I know. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of.
What does graven? What does graven mean? What does graven mean?
Well, let me read the whole thing.
What does graven mean?
Let me read the whole thing, and then we can get into the details.
No, but this is the one. This is the issue we're talking about. Graven.
I think graven image is a sculpture.
Sculpture. Graven as in engraved.
Okay, so let me finish the fucking statement. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Okay.
It does not talk about idols, does not talk about holy things. You can't sculpt any image of anything.
Hey, John, I gotta say, when atheists read the Bible this way, they're reading it just like the fundamentalist literalists. Okay? You're not taking into account any of the cultural landscape, any of the Hebrew knowledge we have about the cognitive linguistics about this passage. Okay? I know more about this than you do on this. I understand the point that you're making. Okay? But the implication, the cultural implication, okay, the cultural signpost that we know linguistically, archaeologically, anthropologically, of what this would have meant to the people that wrote it and to the people that heard it, they would have known that it meant idols. And we know that it means idols because of the very next verse. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. You can't bow down or not serve to something that isn't an idol. You're reading like the fundamentalists, and I bet you're much smarter than that to do that.
Okay, so the next one in my Bible says in literal words, don't blaspheme or use profanity because
you need to read that one again, John.
I will find you guilty if you do.
Yeah, John, why do you use profanity all the time? I mean, I'm a 43-year-old man.
What translation are you using? You're using a terrible translation.
Okay, here's what it literally says.
Could I give you a better translation to use? It's a very, very bad translation.
Okay.
Okay. I could translate on the spot the Hebrew for you if you want. And if you trust me on my knowledge of Hebrew, we could go with that. You don't have to trust my Hebrew.
What translation is it, John?
Well, I think it's, let's see, what is it? I think it's just from, the whatever, King James Version. It's a King James Version-ish version.
No, you're reading from the NIV. That's not the words of the King James. That's
okay, so here's the actual
the version that you really want to use is the New Revised Standard Version. That is the gold standard of Bible translations in the Academy.
Okay.
That's really the one.
Read the third commandment from that.
Third commandment: you shall not swear falsely by the name of the eternal your God, for God will not clear one who swears falsely by that name.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Nothing about the second commandment. Nothing about the
That's
idols.
That's the third commandment.
I know, but you said that.
Yes, but we were talking about the second. Excuse me, John. You jumped from the second commandment to the third. Excuse me, John. You jumped from the second commandment to the third commandment. Which commandment would you like to talk about?
I was talking about the third commandment when you said
the third commandment begins. Excuse me, John. Let's clarify. No. I'll just solve it real quick. It's really easy, John.
The third commandment.
You made a mistake, John. You misspoke and you made a mistake. Okay, it's very simple. When you said you wanted to talk about the third commandment, you began reading at the second commandment.
Caleb,
the second commandment.
He's not here anymore, Caleb.
All right. That's all that happened. He wanted to talk about the third commandment, but began with the second commandment.
Caleb, when you're not.
Here's advice to atheists. If you want to talk Bible with the people who study the Bible the most, you better come and know your Bible.
Caleb, when it says "do not make an engraved image," is I put in the chat that that is a way to teach people to not think of God in terms of symbols. Is that really what the commandment is trying to get at in the teaching of it?
Yes, there's definitely meaning, the thick meaning underneath what these commandments mean in their own cultural context. It's not simply don't commit adultery.
I want to thank you for giving John a taste of his own medicine. That was a beautiful example of expertism.
Well, I am an expert in this field.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I had an original thought today. Well, not very original. If I'm an atheist, I find that I do not mind people criticizing atheism at all.
What do you mean if?
To the extent that I am an
I
atheist,
thought you were an atheist.
Steve, this is not time for that.
Oh, okay,
Point
so
is-
you're not an atheist.
The point is that as an atheist, I in no way, shape, or form am offended. I don't feel anything when people criticize my atheism. They say atheists are bad. Atheism is bad. Hitler was an atheist. Like, people say all kinds of horrible things about atheism. I have never once felt even slightly irritated by the criticism of atheism. And I'm just curious, why are people sensitive when their religion is criticized? And I am not at all sensitive when my atheism is
The reason is, in my humble opinion, is because when you criticize someone's religion, it's what they've believed in their entire life. It's not like they tried chocolate and they're criticizing chocolate, saying vanilla or strawberry is better. They're talking about something that they've believed in, arguably, for decades. And you can't...
We're just waiting for you to finish, Steve, so we can get to an answer from Caleb.
Oh, well, I will defer to Caleb because what he said is true. Caleb is an expert.
Oh my
And by
gosh,
the
Steve,
way, for those of you that don't know, an expert is defined as someone who has comprehensive knowledge of a topic, and Caleb is an expert.
He sure is.
Caleb went to third grade. Okay.
He's a rabbi, and you, Benjamin, should understand that he should have the expertise to speak about this stuff.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
he knows that I do. He knows that I do. But here's
What's the answer?
here's the offense, right? Here's what I take offense to. I don't have a problem with people critiquing. What I have a problem with is people dishonestly critiquing and saying they're doing an internal critique when they really don't know anything about what they're critiquing. They're simply positioning themselves as the inverse fundamentalist, and therefore strawmanning many different positions of the religion they're trying to critique, and therefore denies the diversity of thought within those communities, and they deny actually what are the premises, what are the actual premises that one should take into account if you're going to do a real, honest internal critique.
Okay.
That's where I take
There
offense.
was some dissembling complaint and some pretending to be an insider when you're an outsider and not understanding the variation. Okay, I think
No,
that
it's not about insider. It's not about pretending to be an insider. It's actually having the hubris to think you could do it.
Okay, so why do I not feel any of that if people criticize atheism, misunderstand atheism, misattribute atheism to maybe
Because you don't have because atheism isn't a central part of your identity. It's just something you believe or don't believe. That's different than the way that religion
Isn't
works.
religion just something you believe?
No.
No, religion's a way of life.
It's at least for me, it's not just things that I believe. It's a practice. It's a people. It's a community. These are central parts to my identity and the way that I look at the world. If you want to tell me that your atheism is that, then I might expect you to be more passionate about it. But since you're not, then I would surmise that it's not really that central of an identity piece for you.
Benjamin.
In short, Benjamin, it's because you're attacking their identity. It's a personal attack.
Benjamin.
That's the short answer.
Benjamin.
Yes, and although
attacking anybody's identity, nor is anybody attacking my identity. When they say there are no atheists, atheists are fake, atheists don't exist.
I admire your ability to ask questions and listen to no answers. I admire that, Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Yeah, although I've been an atheist for 25 years, it is not a central part of my life.
Chris, Steve, most of us are waiting for the day when you become an atheist. We're looking forward to celebrating your conversion to atheism, but I'm afraid it's still at a moment in the future.
Benjamin.
Arguably, it sounds to me, maybe other people disagree, you're calling me a liar when I tell you. Yes. All right. Well, I'm glad I hit the nail on the head.
Benjamin
thinks I'm a liar.
Only the individual can tell you what they truly believe. It's up to us whether we believe them or not.
We have an entire house dedicated to the notion that your claim of atheism is fake.
No, you have an entire house devoted to me because if I remember correctly, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, when you guys first opened it, you were complaining that I wasn't talking enough about God, religion, and atheism. Let me finish. Let me finish. Replays are on. I distinctly remember multiple times the reason why the atheist house was initially created, and I'd love your comment on this, was because a lot of people said, not everybody, a lot of people said that they were confused that the atheism house was not always talking about atheism, religion, and God. Specifically me on my weekend shows, I opened it up for people to talk about anything they wanted. And the atheist house was at least initially opened up so people could only talk about atheism, God, and religion. And of course, that has changed since then. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it.
I got
Let
all
me
kinds
assure
of
you, as the person who invented the name atheist, that it's meant to imply you as an example of somebody who claims to be an atheist, but is kind of just kind of on the way, just kind of ish.
Well, no, Benjamin, I'm not ish, and I'm not kind of on the way. I've been an atheist for 25 years.
Yeah, but you've been other religions for all of that time as well.
No, Benjamin, I've only been one religion my entire life. What the fuck are you talking about?
Which one is that, Steve?
Like you don't know? You don't know?
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for you, the atheist, to say what religion you are. Go ahead.
I'm born a Jew, raised a Jew, currently identify as a Jew, and I will die a Jew.
You are religious, Benjamin. I think that's where you're.
I think one could be, but Steve isn't.
Well, Benjamin, how is religion any different from politics? Because there is this communication network, and there is a hierarchy. And so, even in this room right now with Green Bean moderators, we have a political element to who is in charge of the censorship, who is in charge of the leadership. And so, Benjamin, when you ask Steve and you claim that he is atheist, as if like you're trying to define him for the sake of outing him or something, I think everybody likes
outing him. He brazenly claims to be Jewish and atheist.
I know, but you've never heard of a paradox, Benjamin? Can't a man just be contradictory without always being, critically analyzed for it? Isn't that just part of life?
There's nothing contradictory about being a Jewish atheist. Nothing.
And there's
Actually, Benjamin, let me try to go back to your other question. Why are people annoyed? This is why. It really, the fact that in Jewish culture and Jewish identity, you could be a Jewish atheist, and that's not a contradiction, is really irrelevant. What's relevant here is you telling other people what they are. That's what people get annoyed with. Right? So and I don't know why you have this kind of bug up your butt about telling people what they are. Right? You actually, it's very strange, right? Because you have an allergy to the kind of identity politics that they talk about all the time, and identity. So I think John was right. You're trying to out somebody. Look, you have an identity.
Yeah,
that's why people get annoyed with me.
Yeah, and sorry, Caleb. The bottom line, Benjamin, is that religion did not work for
Steve thought you were talking.
Religion, Benjamin, did not work for you. Religion works for me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about something.
I want to respond to Caleb's point.
Respond, my guy.
A good point. Identity is not something you claim. It is not something you are. That's bullshit. Identity is something you negotiate.
Which is to say, claim.
You don't negotiate it. You navigate it. What are you talking about?
Because some checks are cashed and some checks are not cashed. Steve is trying to cash a check at the bank, Benjamin.
Don't bother. Don't worry about someone else's cash. Don't worry about anybody. Don't stop it.
It says he's an
Stop
atheist.
it. Stop it, Benjamin. Your concern. Stop it. You don't actually care.
See, the problem in what Steve is saying is when he says that there is no contradiction in being a Jewish atheist. I just went to Chabad yesterday, and if I were to ask the rabbi about what Steve said, he would say, "What? No. So, Steve, you're making an all or nothing statement, which is considered a cognitive distortion disorder. How do you defend yourself being an atheist Jew and say there's no contradiction?"
Well, I'll tell you, because you didn't ask the rabbi, are there Jewish atheists? You didn't ask the rabbi that question. So I suggest that next time you go to Chabad, you ask the rabbi, do Jewish atheists exist? And please get back to us.
Come on, Steve. I know Jewish atheists exist, and I don't need to go to ask the rabbi anything. I'm here asking you.
We do exist.
Of course you exist, but how do you defend?
So then what's the contradiction?
Because according to cognitive behavioral therapy, it says you're making an all or nothing statement, and that's considered a cognitive distortion disorder. Do you not have ears? I know you don't have eyes anymore, but do you still have ears?
All or nothing in the statement.
Do you still have ears? I know your eyes are shutting off, but are your ears still working? Hello?
Okay, here it is. My thoughts on God are atheistic. It's not my identity. I'm not an atheist. I don't wear it as a badge of honor. My thoughts are atheistic on God, but it's not something it's not a label that I am an atheist. My thoughts are. So it's not even that important to me. And I think that's why religious people get offended, because they are Christians. They are, religious Jewish people, or they are Muslims. And so that's why people get offended.
Getting offended.
But I am not an atheist. My thoughts are atheistic on the matter.
Look, I think offending people is the point, right? Like when you try to negotiate an identity claim that cannot be cashed in any bank. Like if I were to say I'm a Pastafarian, I believe in his noodly appendage, giant spaghetti monster. The purpose of all of that is to offend. In other words, I'm trying to cash.
Who is it meant to offend? Who's it meant to offend?
It's meant to confront and offend people because it challenges their very ability to negotiate identity.
This is the fucking dumbest. I'm so sorry to flip out and be triggered right now. This is the dumbest ass thing I've ever heard. Okay, people choose identities. You're so fucking cynical, right? This notion that it's about that the way that the reason that I choose an identity has something to do with anybody else except me.
You know what, Caleb? It's interesting, this last dialogue within the past 60 seconds, because what I noticed about this specifically is Benjamin just admitted that when he talks to me or about me regarding my atheism and or Judaism, he's doing it to offend. His purpose is to offend.
Yes, I heard that too.
You misunderstood.
Oh, I don't think I misunderstood at all. I think I got it black and white, no gray, baby.
And the recording's on. That's exactly what you said, sweetheart.
So, well, go check the recording then. The claim of identity is almost always to create a superlative, superior identity and claim it. And often, and therefore create an inferior identity and claim that other people are that thing. When I say, for example, that I'm indigenous, I'm saying there's a kind of person who is not indigenous, has no right to exist, and I am the kind of person that has the right to exist. That's the purpose of saying I'm indigenous, right? It is
that's what Anne.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Benjamin, that's what Ayn Rand says when she says she will not sacrifice herself for others, and she does not expect others to sacrifice themselves for others. You guys could argue this atheism does God exist show. It's basically a formatted show, which is prove to me God exists. It's a comedy gong shong show. You're just a participant on the show, Benjamin. I hate to break the bad news to you, but if you're not creating something and you're just a passive guest that comes on to receive the gong, well, great. But my complaint and critique of the atheists is not that God does or does not exist, or that we can't logically disprove the non-existence of God. It's that it's really just a book club. And the atheists who claim there is no God refuse to get on stage to read a book to an audience and actually have some fun. And that, as an artist, it's just my critique, or the critic in me is telling atheists that you guys can't pick up a script and run a program. You guys are basically not computer scientists for being so scientific. It's just for fun. And so that's my criticism of the atheists that refuse to use the books to have fun. That's the problem.
If you want to have fun, I will debate you anytime, anywhere about the existence of God, and I will win and you will lose if you want to really have fun.
But how are you going to prove to me that God exists when you're an atheist? What are you talking about?
All you have to do is agree to the debate anytime, anywhere. I'll be there.
Okay, I'll see you behind the kindergarten, maybe at 3 p.m., little Stevie.
And basically that's saying, sorry, Steve, but I'm not going to debate you because I know I will
Steve,
lose.
this is why I don't think you have ears. I know you barely have eyes anymore, but I don't think you have ears.
Lot of ears.
Well, you're not.
Fun.
Go ahead and repeat back to me what I even said. You're challenging me to a debate. We're doing it right now.
The existence of God. No one here, by the way, I have ears. Do you? No one has argued in the past 30 minutes I've been here whether or not God exists. No one's argued that. So maybe it's you that need ears.
Atheists say they have a lack of belief in God, not that God doesn't exist. And if you're going,
what are you talking about, Yoni? It's an all or nothing statement with atheists. They say God does not exist. What are you talking about? There's not a little bit of God in that equation. There's no God in that equation.
What I say.
atheist says that.
Well, everybody's going to say their own particular position. I mean, Yoni, you're trans. How do you view the trans ideology in terms of God belief?
That's well be calling me a Christian, sweetheart.
Because to me, trans ideology is really what happens when the pawn crosses the threshold and becomes a queen, a transformation. It's in religion. Adam was essentially the first, non-binary. Adam supposedly was trans, and that's how Eve came out.
Why are you moving the goalpost, bringing in trans?
Because we're talking about God or not God.
Homosexual man, as a homosexual man, how can you believe in God? I'm talking to you.
Are you talking to me or Steve? Because Steve's part of the lifestyle, not me.
Okay, the bus officially went off the fucking cliff right there.
Oh, this bus been off the cliff.
Oh, she's on the ground. So what's your proof that I'm trans? I mean, that's what you believe. Now, give me the proof.
It's my opinion you're trans.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's in my opinion you're a homosexual. So I mean, we're good.
Oh, well, I can quickly disprove that if you'd like to know how. I can prove I'm not gay.
You guys are all
How do you disprove a concept?
Just to correct that and go back to the title of the room. And part of what we mean by, or what I meant by the Reality Restoration Project, is not choosing to believe in things that you don't actually have any kind of evidence for. As a general principle, getting back to stating things that can be verified, not things that you believe, right, or things that you like. Largely, when we're saying, I believe this or I believe that, it's that, I am going to go on the record and say, I think this is a thing, even though I don't know. I'm just saying, refrain from that. And a lot of the language we've been here to has been, you're lying, which tends to happen all the time. People get hot and bothered. Again, if you started before it started, before we really started getting into it, you don't know if a person's lying. They could be stupid. They could just be wrong, right? So
I get it, but since we know that God is a concept, how do we disprove a concept that doesn't exist? It's just a concept. It's like the ego or being gay. They don't exist.
I think you are so-and-so. You're just a person thinking the thing with no verification for it. That's fine. You can think what you want. That doesn't make it an opinion. It makes.
Well, I'm just saying that people on this app actually can't tell me the difference between truth and opinions or facts and opinions, and that when I say I'm gay, it's just a concept. And when you say God, it's just a concept. So if you're an atheist, how do you sit here and argue about a concept that does not exist? And it's basically, it's the Prove to Me God Exists show. It's just for clowns to come up, to give their shtick, and then get donged. Hello?
Concept of atheism absolutely exists because the definition is those humans that do not believe in God. There are 500 million humans that do not believe in God. Therefore, it does exist. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so I haven't said anything, but I just want to jump in real quick. Atheists wouldn't exist without God. Okay? That's beautiful. I love that.
It's also true. It's also true.
Let me pay a
No, it's not. Atheists wouldn't exist without your belief in something that you don't have evidence for.
A quick comment.
It was a joke, bro.
It's just a compliment. I admire your confidence. That usually comes along with competency when you're talking about philosophy. So I just wanted to let you know I admire you.
You don't have to realize.
Oh, Ray! Hey, Ray's here.
I just want to say something.
Go ahead, Riri.
I never knew that Americans are very pathetic. I realized Middle Eastern are white. I was so confused, like the Scottish, Irish. I didn't know if you're from Egypt, you're white. If you're from, like, Greek, you're white. I didn't know that. How come?
Oh, Riri, you were just trolling chillism an hour ago, and now you're in here going to do the same thing,
No, but
right?
I'm saying it. If you're Greek and Portugal, you're white. How is that possible?
Listen, if the conversation about okay, so listen, there's an expression that says the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. So that's why I go back to this universal joke about God Meaning that if you create content about atheist versus theist debate, it's a great format, but it's still a yin yang, or you're
Hey,
basically
Caleb, I want to
united.
get back to that point.
Hello?
So you said the more you speak, the further you get away from the truth.
Hello?
You're the one speaking the most in.
That the history of categorizing people is a history of denigrating the other.
What'd you say, Willis?
Well, I was hoping to get back to the point with Caleb, which is this notion of categorize when we categorize people. The history of categorizing humans is a long history of denigrating
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
the other.
I just wanted to know, like, I'm European. Like,
I'm not here for the Riri show, whatever that is, but I do want to have a substantive conversation.
I think we are having a substantive conversation.
I'm not here for the.
Benjamin, you're not a moderator, unfortunately. You can try to control and direct the conversation. However, we have to get to the crux of the matter.
It looks like he did. Somehow she magically went away. I have no idea.
She's a troll, though. But anyway.
She's a highly intoxicated, highly obnoxious person who has no value. I'm not necessarily here for the Benjamin show. Oh, I got moved. The show's over.
So I got a real quick question for Benjamin. What's the end game here from this discussion? I mean, like you and Steve going back and forth, and then Yoni and I jumping in, but I'm trying to follow it, but it's like
no. What you missed is I was having a substantive conversation.
Substantive.
That is.
No, I was here for that. I was
with by midwits.
Okay, but it still didn't answer my question, which is, what is the point that you're trying to make through all this crossfire?
Look, the epiphany I had today is that I have, like, if I was going to fill out the box, what religion are you? It'd probably be closest to atheist, right? So I don't believe, all these other religions. Okay. So, but what's weird is that the fact that I am labeled an atheist, because I don't believe in God, does not bother me.
More knowledge than Moses, Abraham, Solomon.
I would imagine, yeah, based on the lottery, they probably do a lot of that pre-qualifying stuff on the front end.
Probably, yeah, probably
Like,
right.
make sure,
Maybe I
yeah.
can apply and find out. Just see.
Ladies, good afternoon, ladies, moderators. I came to be less social. I heard yesterday I was the topic of conversation. I was invited to your room yesterday, but I arrived too late. It had ended, so here I am in the flesh. Hello?
You were invited to what room?
To your room yesterday. I heard I was the topic of conversation.
Oh, I was offline all day yesterday, so I wouldn't know.
Well, that's what you think you were. I heard you yesterday, somnambulantly day sleepwalking, talking. You don't even know you're on here anymore when you're talking.
So is that gaslighting? I'm pretty sure my daughter was graduating yesterday and I had out of town family all day.
Well, maybe it was the day before.
Rumors of you your name being bandied about are likely exaggerated.
Oh, really? You want to see the text message? Somebody text messaged me out of the blue. Somebody I've never text messaged with before was like, "Hey, they're talking about you in this room. Here's the link. Please come to the room." And I saved the number.
But I didn't have a room yesterday, John.
I know, maybe it was the day before. But it was, within the 48-hour period.
I'll be honest, Mr. Kitover, every time I hear someone mention you, it's because an anon comes in and they're like, what do you think? If you think that's John Kitover, and it literally lasts maybe 3 seconds and then we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Whoever sent that message message to you, they're whack. And I would message them that they're whack. That's crazy as fuck. They really made you think that we were over here just dissing on you or something.
No, not like you
Sorry,
guys
boo.
were writing an essay about me. I mean, what you said makes sense to me.
Good.
Yeah. But anyways, I was
That's
just
all it was, my love.
just bringing it up because it was like an unsolicited text message from somebody I don't communicate with, or didn't even know who they were.
Special though.
What?
Particularly because I'm probably one of few that don't like just remove you on site.
Yeah, well, I was just eventually I get removed, so it's nice of you to say you don't on site remove me, but you know that within at least a 10 to 30 minute period, you're eventually going to kick me from the room.
I never kick you from my rooms, John. If you're getting removed, it's not by me.
Well, I was just in a room for about 20 minutes talking about, in an atheist versus theist debate room, and then eventually I got kicked. So I'm just saying, I am here to be.
No, I will goo you.
Okay.
I have definitely gooed you before. I don't kick you from the room, though.
You slimed me. The thing is, this app actually is very political. It actually is like its own little political hierarchy communication network game with green beans and goos and stages and listening gallery. It's fun. That's the thing is it's really like a 3D simulator video game. And, because I put it all on YouTube, it adds this like layered experience for myself and maybe for some of the other people who, that's the thing is I can't even go back to my own YouTube channels and watch any of the live streams because that would be like, cloning or duplicating and just wasting time. But anyways,
I just want to tell you, I don't like coming in rooms with you when you're YouTubing stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're a goofy idiot. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, Sam.
You're welcome. But see, when you say,
are you recording us right now, John?
Well, when Sam says that I'm a goofy idiot, I think that's just projection. Because I don't think I'm goofy. Yeah, I don't think I'm an idiot. I don't think I'm that goofy. I know I'm trying to be a little funny, but not like a goof. A goof is like a stupid person.
Here's the thing, Kitover. I don't block your accounts. I used to, but I reached a point of if you can't beat them, join them. I don't think you're an idiot. I don't kick you from this room. So if you're getting kicked from this room, it's
I'm not getting kicked from this room. And all I'm trying to say, in your room is that I really have nothing to say other than I just came in here to tell you that I got this amazing text message from some random person saying, hey, here's a link to get snatched. They're talking about you. Please join the room. You want it?
Who sent it to you?
Somebody text messaged me. They didn't tell me their name. But I saved the number, and that's that. Anyways, it's not like it.
Back channel me that number. Back channel me that number real quick. Thank you.
Well, what's important is what you said. Is that nothing was really interesting. Like if you guys are ripping on me and roasting me, I just want to hear it because it's fun. I love.
No problem roasting on you in person.
Yeah, I love getting roasted. Yeah. Yeah. Change the title. Let's roast John Kitover. Let's roast up John Kitover for brunch. The roast of John Kitover for brunch.
That sounds like a good time.
That's a great room title.
Can we change the title? Kitover roast beef.
It's the Kitover roast beef room. No vegetarians allowed.
That's right. I think we need to do something exciting.
That's true. We need to have a little.
Come tell Kitover how you really feel.
I like that.
Let John Kitover help you process your lack of emotional intelligence.
We should even mod Kitover just once.
Oh, don't tempt yourselves with a good time.
Except that he'll just boom the room.
What are you talking? I'm not going to boom your room. I'm here filming content.
I feel like there's probably, you tell me if you think this is true or not. I don't know that there's anything anybody could say to you that you haven't already heard.
Well, that's what I told myself. That's what I told my psychiatrist after I was 5150. I feel like I've heard everything anyone has ever already said, and there's nothing new that's ever going to be said. And he was like, uh-oh.
I mean, don't you feel like
I
they
have those
all say the
thoughts.
same thing? I don't consent to your permission to record me, Mr. Kitover, and you're a disgusting, weird, creepo pervo who sits in your underwear on Instagram. I mean, I just feel like they all come with the same freaking spiel.
Sometimes he
blah,
wears a
blah, blah.
Sometimes he wears a ball cap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got a lot of different hats. It kind of shows the progression of time on my YouTube channel, and I also,
I like it.
yeah, I like covering up my bald head because when I see my bald head versus my head with with a hat, I'm like, I look a lot better with a hat than with a big shiny forehead.
Dang, you can't rock it. Dang.
This isn't a Pitbull concert. So, Rabono Shalom, social less, I say that's really what people need, which is the book club. And my argument in the atheist theist room is that whether or not God exists or does not exist, most of the complainers who are atheists refuse to pick up any book and read any of it in a performative, artistic way. So what they're really refusing to do is to have fun. And their fun is dunking and roasting theists, people that like the books. So it's a pathetic position, usually inhabited by blobs, men or women who are blobs. And, I got to get my schwitz on soon. That means I'm going to go for a power walk, make myself another espresso, and get my sweat going. And then I'm going to go do some yoga poses and pull-ups at the park and push-ups and dips and sit-ups. And then maybe another hip rotation and another hip rotation. Then I'm going to pull on my hamstring. Then I'm going to do some sit-ups. Oh, it's so beautiful outside. Rabono Shalom.
Nice.
If anyone doesn't think God exists, how do you explain a summer day when the bees and the birds, and how do you actually explain the happening of the world?
I don't know.
I don't think they have ears.
To get out there and observe the happening in the world. To
Earth.
Even
That's
contemplate
Earth.
explaining the happening in the world.
Earth.
That's right.
The secret is in the ears.
Can't wear your skivvies.
I'm going to put a Speedo on and go jogging in a Speedo. Someone call the police. There's a white man in a Speedo jogging at the park.
A white man
What is
with
this? Europe.
white skivvies.
Oh my God. Monica, I mean, I love you, Monica. I think you're a sweet person and you're funny and you got a great laugh. And I think you add a lot of value and personality and character to this app. But the other day, for 2 hours, talking about that stupid bastard at the park who decided to start feeding treats to the Karen who took the dog off the leash. I've taken my dog off at the beach, and the same experience happened to me. There's always that yin to yang and reversal and opposite of the universe that matches you when you decide to take your dog off leash. That's because of personal responsibility. When a dog owner doesn't value their dog and lets their dog do discovery on its own with no, ownership intervention, that's when problems begin. So anyways, I'm just saying, to talk about it for so long, what a waste of time. We all know that if you are a dog owner and you mistreat and abuse your dog by taking your dog off leash so it can be harmed, you are a jerk. And that Karen is a jerk. Keep your dog on leash and don't let assholes at the park or the beach that want to call you out on your shit, don't let them call you out in the first place, because don't take your fucking dog off leash. Maintain control. Practice personal responsibility. Hello? And I think Serendipity said the same thing, right?
That's right. That's right.
Cleaning up after your dog.
I mean, that too, because I can talk up on.
But I will just say, in Monica's defense, when I took my dog off leash at the beach, I was the only one there. The fucking guy ran from the boardwalk to the beachfront and was screaming at me. And my dog was the most innocent, non-harmful, non-aggressive, small little nothing. And this guy, he's like, a dog bit me at the beach a week ago. He was a beachfront Karen. And, I was actually kind of worried because, if he called the police on me, I didn't want to get a ticket. So I picked up my dog and I left. But that beachfront Karen was very annoying. And he's lucky that I'm not an aggressive, nasty person. And I just wanted to avoid the conflict and de-escalate. So I left. But there are people out there that will not de-escalate and they will enhance the conflict. And that's the problem with maybe some of the people that have green beans in this room right now. Instead of de-escalating for peace of mind and your own well-being, I think some of you ladies may have in your past, unfortunately, escalated a situation instead of de-escalating. And therefore,
as we should.
Well, maybe not, because really it's your experience. And so from your experiential perspective,
it's also my decision, right? It's also my decision.
But is it a smart decision? Right? Is it a smart decision? That is it your best choice to make? That's what I'm questioning.
To decide, don't you think? Because what if I escalate on somebody who is just a troll or whatever on this app, versus if I were to escalate on somebody who is well-renowned doctor and has a Nobel Peace Prize, then maybe I can hear the argument on what's smart and unsmart. But that's a relative decision to somebody who has autonomy.
Well, you have your autonomy.
Decisive people, right?
You have your autonomy and you will always be in charge of your choice. I am merely a critic trying to suggest that to optimize your choices, good books and philosophy, as opposed to clown house, scumbag, annoying schmucks who just don't stop talking on this app as if their advice or life experiences in any way, shape, or form shape your experience for a better way. It doesn't. Listening to Brad talk about jumping into a pond to take a selfie with an alligator doesn't make my life any better by listening to it. But if it's content on YouTube, it's got a little value. Just a little.
That Brad voice is a turn on. Go ahead.
Girl.
Well, he told Bima yesterday.
Saying you're asking us not to listen to what Brad is doing when he goes on these diatribes and these monologues and these long-winded tantrums.
Well, he told
spewed with vulgarity. We get it. Like
he told Bima yesterday he was gonna shove it up her ass.
But I would say
and Bima got excited. Bima got excited. Bima was so happy. I find it amazing how people see, like, you might mix with somebody that you've danced with before, and that's part of life. But I'm just saying, I think eventually this app will shut down and that these conversations will no longer take place, and that all this communication network will completely disappear as if it never happened to begin with, because I remember what my life was like before this app, and I was very happy. And I was doing my creative thing. But because of somebody I knew that was using this app and knew I was a creative person, said, you got to come on this app. And all I can say is that person ripped me off for $10,000. But eventually, they gave me my money back because I told them what would happen if they didn't give me my money back. And they agreed that my legal, notification was of sufficient harm to their position. And they said, okay, I'm going to give you your money back. So they gave me my money back. All I'm saying is I was happier before this app, and I will be happier when this app shuts down. And the other day, a week or two ago, when this app shut down for 2 hours, I was so happy. I was so happy.
John, I've given you a lot of floor space, but I do have one quick question about the statement that you just made. I was happier before Clubhouse came along, and I will be happier after Clubhouse is long gone. Do you think there's a little bit of accountability in that you could choose that happier at any point in time? You don't have to rely on other people? Okay, just wondered. Hi, Francie. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's afternoon, my dear, but yeah,
been doing some housework and continue to just roll on. I came on Clubhouse this morning and it was a little chaotic. I think Vera was around to see that and Joe B. And it was like, I went into 2 different rooms. I don't need to say where, but it was like, I felt like I was in preschool. And I'm not kidding, like, and it was mostly men that were talking, but they were talking baby talk. It was so odd, but then cussing and talking about getting drunk and stuff. But their voices were like baby talk, and it was like, it's like 7th grade boys behavior. It was kind of like that. What Vero and Chubby, maybe y'all. And then I went to another room and it was the same thing, and I just thought, I'm losing my mind. Are there any adult ones who laugh?
I know. I was going to start a group too, but serendipity pinged me.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Girl, I started some mess this morning too, a little bit on this app, so I was like, I gotta get away.
I can answer your question. Serendipity, I think there's some projection in the question that you asked me. I would ask you to ask the question again, and then ask yourself the question.
There's zero
Hello?
projection in my question. Let me tell you something. I was not here. Here's the difference between you and I. I was not happier when I came to Clubhouse. There for a time, I think I needed the socialization of Clubhouse amongst peers that didn't intimately know my situation. And I generally work pretty hard to curate the experience that I have here. And when the net benefit or the net negative outweighs the net positive, I will be fine. That's the difference. But you're the one that said I was happier before and I will be happier when it's long gone.
Yeah, that's what I said. I know what I said.
I know what I said.
I'm saying that it's still just your opinion that there's a difference between you and me. Right from the very beginning of your statement, you said, here's the difference between me and you. Well, it's just your opinion that there's a difference between me and you. No, I heard what you said. I'm getting to the first part of what you said. It's just your opinion. It's just your opinion. And you can't even tell me the difference between an opinion and a fact. Go ahead. I'll wait. Let me hear your opinion on what the difference is between what an opinion is and what a fact is.
We don't have to.
I already said it, and it was an opinion versus.
Well, you can't do it because it's a trick question, and maybe you're too smart to not answer a trick question because there are no facts, ladies and gentlemen. There's just these things called opinions.
Opinions, John.
Hello?
And opinions are like assholes. We all have one.
Exactly.
I think he intentionally talks to see which moderators will tolerate him the longest.
Well, I told you when I first got here that eventually I would be kicked.
He keeps the tally.
I told you what was going to happen before it happened.
Okay, hold on.
I unblocked Alistair, but this one's blocked
I don't.
Listen, Anonymous.
Honestly, I don't even generally mind John.
Listen, if there's an anon,
under my skin like he does a lot of people.
Put a sock in it once in a while, so that
he just talks a lot sometimes. It's like
I just want Francie to speak. Really.
check stage.
Hey, John, put a sock in it for a minute.
I know. I just wanted to say one last thing. That if there is an anon, if there's an anon in your room and you don't know who it is, there's a good chance it's me. But if you want to confirm it's me, all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in John Kitover, click on any live to confirm whether or not that anon is me.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we know. Thanks, Boo. Appreciate you.
Hello.
Good job. Monica, you were saying
that I blocked this account, but I unblocked Alistair.
Oh.
But when I find you streaming rooms that are not on replay, you'll always get removed by me with a swiftness that will make your little PTR spin.
There you go.
PTR spinner. But the thing is about the Anon is you can't kick out an Anon and you can't stop me from live streaming your room. So Serendipity has the right type of attitude when she says, I just gave up because what's the point? And that's the truth is you never should have cared from the beginning. And that's a you problem.
That was me. If I want to have a Kitover free room, I just have them in the house. That's all I have to do.
Right. We've learned to get around this. You know, it's cute, John, that you think that you're like teaching us something. No, we're allowing you.
You haven't gotten around anything. That's the point. You've gotten around nothing. You've gotten around nothing.
It's so silly to me. Like it's just so funny.
I know it's so juvenile. It's so pedestrian.
Oh, Francie's talking. Let Francie talk.
I just want to know, like, this is for the whole room. Why do you want to be in a space where no one wants you? If you're getting the signal that you're not welcome, then that's because.
Francie, because that's what the Bible tells me to do, Francie.
I don't know the answer to that.
That's what the Bible tells me to do.
For everybody to think about.
I read the Bible. The Bible told me to do it.
I don't know. Mocking God is not really something
It's not mockery, Francie. You want to hear the verse? That's your opinion. It's mockery. You want to see the verse? Hello? You didn't even ask. You didn't even ask. You just said it's like your opinion or something. I think I got a shelf space, like a life space. Like when you buy food, do not use after this date. Very rarely does it say that. So some people risk it, spoiled milk. So, Francie, I'm just saying that if you want to know the verse, you could ask me or Google. Look it up. It's from a book. Many people on this app don't read books anymore. So if you read a book today, you're in the top 1%.
Did you just quote the Reading Rainbow?
No, but the other day when you were in my room, Monica, and I was reading from a book, and then I got to that part about reading from books and how important it is, you left. You left the reading room.
I will always leave you, John.
Okay, one of the reasons why I was so patient was I did just complete a text conversation with female Monica, so I
good. How is she?
Yeah, she's good. She's fine. Nothing dramatic, nothing problematic. She's just got some stuff at home going on, and she needs to redirect some attention.
Alrighty.
Well, it's exhausting having to water up.
It's always a good place to come when you need to be heard. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's true. It is basically free talk therapy access to your psychiatrist to office anytime you want it. And that's part of the problem. Because the truth is that people who come here to get their rapid release dopamine from talking, I just jumped into a lake and took a selfie with an alligator. I am Viking. America!
Hello, Brad.
America! I went out with a Hollywood actress once. And she was useless. We went out deep into the forest, and I said, here's a small shovel. Dig us a slit trench so we can take a shit. She was completely ineffective in digging a slit trench. These girls, even though they like to be action characters on the big screen, in the real world, deep in the forest, they're useless. Useless. So I gave up on Hollywood actresses. I gave up on them completely because they are useless. Useless. I am Brad the Viking Warrior!
I didn't want to
Alan,
Hi, Francie.
how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Fine, one of my favorite people.
Thank you. You too. But John, is that you?
Yeah, that was my Brad the Viking Forest Warrior speech from yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I was using speech to text to message someone. But I did want to say, you probably missed it, but there, when Clubhouse was actually normal, the Ayn Rand Society had, like twice a week, had rooms in which they discussed various topics related to Ayn Rand and related to politics of the day. I think you would have found that interesting.
Well, see, there's two.
Ayn Rand.
Yeah, Ayn. It's
Yeah,
there's.
Ayn Rand. Yeah, sorry.
See, Alan, I'm in a book club. This beautiful brunette, Alan, got in my face last night and just wouldn't leave me alone. I was so happy. She was so cute. And as she was pushing her beautiful face closer to my face, she said, "Do you have any advice for me?" And I said, "Yeah." I was like, personal development never stops. Start a book club and read books. Read them out loud and always be engaged with books your whole life starting now. She was like, "Oh, I love that for me." And then her friend cock blocked me and dragged her away. And I said, "Goodbye, beautiful. Bye."
Yeah, it's always the jealous friends who ruin things. That's happened to me more than once. So that's life. That's life. Yeah, it may surprise people to know that I'm trying to think how to put this. A lot of reading the classics informs a lot of what's happening today, and one realizes, well, gee whiz, nothing's new today. So you read a book like The Bostonians, and you see a very detailed description of what the feminists did at that time, and you see that, well, gee, there's nothing new. They're not doing anything new today. Or reading a book like The Idiot by Dostoevsky and realizing his commentary on atheists or liberals from the 1800s is no different than anything happening now.
You're so right about that, and it makes me think of the stack of ladders. Our friend Sig is really into like old.
I got kicked from the room. I got kicked from the room. I said it was going to happen. It happened, I think, 30 minutes in.
Extending the railway.
Time for a new anonymous show. Time for the anonymous show. Time to go.
And they put a university out there. So it's the same thing. But Fresno might be impacted. Everything else in between.
We got you, Monica. We got you, Monica. Monica.
I've seen it happen. And I was wondering why Merced kind of like all of a sudden blew up. It's because people can't afford to live in the South Bay. So they go more inward. You can't do Santa Cruz, right? You got to go inside. And what's there in between farmland and the Silicon Valley is Merced.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. If it's a good time, I wouldn't mind responding to the question that Tiffany asked earlier, because I thought it was quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing in the chat, but the point is, Brian, like I said, like it was just to show, like, we're having this conversation about, these advances, quote unquote, but because this company filed bankruptcy, then it's $550 million. So anywho, I read the article. I actually was aware of it in April. It's just something that's very sad to me. It's just something that's very, very sad, So, it's just, unnecessary. And it especially when we're talking about, we have, food pantries that need things. I'm like, how come, like you said, Misa, like, how come, I guess there were no more employees to, like, harvest the fruit, but that, I don't know. And maybe I don't know enough about it, but I'm just like, yeah, that's terrible, Lefa. Like, yes, I know they filed bankruptcy, but we save corporations that file bankruptcy all the time. But yeah, that is just 50,000 tons of peaches. That just seems like such an incredible waste to me. Like, we're talking about robots, but we can't say the damn peaches. I would get the peaches if I was in California. I'll let it go, y'all.
They should hand the peaches out. This is what I'm not understanding. They might not be able to give every fucking peach out. I don't know what stage of decomposition they're in. I don't know what is going on. But the fresh produce like that, why not just hand it out? There are restaurants who probably come pick it up, bakeries who come pick it up. You said pantries who get, I don't know. So I'm sure that people have been reaching out to them after they heard that they got all these peaches, that they can send this stuff out across the state. They send peaches and fruit all up across the states anyway. Why can't you? I'm sure there are groups who have volunteered to come get the peaches, because this farm guy had his in Southern California. This guy who owned a horse ranch. His ranch is in the middle of a fire. I read there's a fire up there now. Maybe by y'all have to tell me what the name of that city is. I guess Ventura County, somewhere Simi Valley. I'm not sure. So guess what happened? He got on social media because he didn't have any more hay. And those people, the horse people, I guess is a small community. He's getting hay from all over the country, and the people who own the ranches are sending these 18-wheelers with hay, all from all around the country. He's filmed it to donate to him. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So there seems to be a will, maybe no will, but a way. I don't know. I really don't, but that sounds like a waste, and it sounds like they're doing it on purpose. I could be wrong. Let's investigate more.
So something you could do, and I encourage everybody just for your own personal edification to know what your somewhat local economy is experiencing. Just Google what are the mass layoffs in your state for this year or last year. And it will show you all of these different organizations and explain why. So I know that sometimes people will say like, oh, well, I can't relate to, these fruit farms that are having X, Y, and Z. But if you look, like in Tennessee, people don't know, we've had major plant closures for Bridgestone, General Motors, a significant number of the companies that are involved in like lumber manufacturing, all those things. It's not just isolated to like, oh, we don't have migrant workers to work these fields. It is all of these jobs in the labor force that we were promised would come back to the U.S. and be amazing. And a lot of them are around, the EV demand keeps changing. Just general, like people just aren't buying some of the things they used to buy. And so I just encourage everybody, take a minute, look those things up, see what how the layoffs are looking in your area, to kind of understand what, not necessarily if your industry is in danger, but what you could probably anticipate as like the next industry to be impacted. But like, I'm so glad you came up, because I do want to hear, I'm not trying to say that no jobs will be gone, but I want to better understand the concern, so I can, ask my friends in other spaces, like, what are you doing as far as AI or technology, and how is that impacting how you are going about your staffing?
Oh, no, I appreciate it, Tiffany. I didn't want to come across the wrong way in the chat, because it's chat. So I wasn't stating that you are delusional, of course. I was just stating that there's a lot of people who believe that there won't be displacement or actual lossing, staff and positions and capabilities as a result of AI. But I think what I liked particularly about your submission is that you spoke to alternate ways in which the key word is deployment can actually happen. So as you're probably familiar, ChatGPT, OpenAI just launched their deployment agency. And the reason for that is the issue that a lot of corporations did not understand the value of AI and how it can actually be used within the organization. So, I mean, of course, a lot of people would assume that, replacing jobs is the necessary conclusion. But like you stated earlier, I mean, there's upskilling, there's ways that we can actually improve the capabilities of, of individuals within the workforce without removing the job. So when you ask the question, I mean, particularly which jobs I think will be displaced, the question comes down to the organization and where do you think the bottlenecks are. So, I mean, actually recently, and I mean, I'll share this because it's not that important. I actually applied for a position with Anthropic. I didn't get it, but I had an interview. And the question was related to my industry that I was in previously, which was insurance, as to what deployment would actually look like. So, I mean, the questions you'd ask, of course, is what is the bottlenecks? What are the expenses? What are the pains that these corporations are actually having? So within insurance, a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like you said, for your positions, I mean, a lot of people don't find insurance sexy. So there wasn't a lot of new staff coming into insurance. And in terms of cost, a lot of people are not aware, but I mean, commissions is actually the largest cost center for insurance companies. So they were interested in ways they could actually reduce that, whether in deals or automation or processes that would actually be easier for them to access the market without agents necessary. So of course agents would lose their job in that sense, but it would just mean less commission. So to answer your question, I mean, I try to be as high level as possible because I literally believe, like you said, that the way that the technology is deployed is actually very agnostic. So it's going to depend on the organization. It's going to depend on the cost centers. It's going to depend on, like you said, I mean, whether they believe that, the liability.
Now ye shall know that the chosen priest, the ox of infinite space, is the prince, priest, the beast, and in his woman called the Scarlet Woman is all power given. They shall gather my children into their fold. They shall bring the glory of the stars into the hearts of men. 16, for he is ever a sun and she a moon. But to him is the winged secret flame, and to her the stooping starlight. But ye are not so chosen. 18 burn upon their brows, O splendorous serpent. 19, O azure-lidded woman, bend upon them. 20, the key of the rituals is in the secret word which I have given unto him. we shall know that the chosen priest, a soul of infinite space.
What up, Joe? I just got kicked out of Serendipity's room by Monica. Monica? Bunch of Karens, in my opinion. What are you doing today?
What? I'm just doing some computer work. I was watching Trump speak right now.
Did you see Meta? You live in Louisiana, right?
Now I live in Alabama. I used to live in Louisiana.
I used to have a good friend in the Army from Shreveport. He was a very, very cool guy. But Meta's $10 billion Louisiana data center is getting $3.3 billion in tax breaks, more than 7 years of the state's entire police budget. But anyways, what is Trump doing? Is he in the Rose Garden or something?
No, he's in the where the press secretary speaks.
Oh, really?
He's talking about the war with Iran.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's live right now. He's been talking for a while.
If you were locked,
Let me pull it up.
I think they're about to ramp it up again.
Yeah. Ivan Ranklin just said, now that Thomas Massey's gone,
He got attacked, and it had the reverse effect. The neighbors came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite successfully. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others, but they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it. It was a threat then and a much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that too. In the meantime, during this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects other countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position. but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time, and we're protecting the world from what these lunatics are trying to do, and very successfully, I might add. We're also waiving certain oil-related sanctions to reduce prices. So we have sanctions on some things. We're going to take those sanctions off until this straightens out. Then who knows, maybe we won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed. I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through. And we have the greatest mine-sweeping ability. We have the greatest ships, and all of them. We know exactly where they're placed. We'll get them out of there very fast, but we hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran is a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit. They had thousands and thousands of missiles, everything else. Most are now destroyed. But they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East, and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder. Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
talking
soon.
about days?
I think so.
Okay, and with respect
very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, they have two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
Back to Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that, and why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a president. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter, because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban American business people, some of them are like the most successful.
As a freelancer and content creator, some months are great, and some months are just not it. Here's how I make this way of earning.
Long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it, and we cut them off from everything else. So, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah. Please. Go ahead. There's footage that shows that